All right, so today is going to be a little different. I've been watching this TV show recently called The Outsiders on HBO Max. Came out in 2020. A guy is convicted for the murder of a child, and he is trying to plead his case that it wasn't him. This is the scene of them kind of just before going to court and like pleading his case, and just wants to ask a few last questions because they used to be friends. I just feel like this is a masterful example of exposition in dialogue. He is telling a story that isn't necessarily important to the narrative. Like it doesn't give any details to the mystery detective part of this, but it's giving details on the type of person Terry is, and that's really important.
You know, Ralph, when you arrested me in front of all those people at that game, you asked me if I'd ever touched your son, Derek. You remember that?
Very careful about what you say to me next.
In all the years I've been coaching Little League, your son, Derek, was the best drag bunter I ever had. And he was just a little guy. You know, he was very small, smallest kid on the team. But he had a lot of guts. He was never afraid to crowd the plate, even if there was some great big eighth grader throwing heat. And most kids that short, you just count on him for
He
walks.
sits back down.
That's
He
all you
knows
can
that
expect.
it's
But he wasn't having that. He just kept swinging and
it's not a mean
striking
thing.
out.
He's just trying
And the kids even
to
started
connect.
calling him the Whiffer, secretly. They called him Whiffer. I asked him to stop, but they're 12 and 11. Only time he got on base is when he got hit by a pitch, so tough to blame him. But when I saw that he wasn't going to quit, that he was going to just keep swinging and striking out, I taught him how to bunt. And not a lot of kids like to do that. They're afraid they drop that bat over the plate. Fastball comes in, they get their fingers smashed, but not him. He never flinched, not once. And he flew down that first base line. You remember how many bunt singles he got? A lot more than I expected. But those kids stopped calling him Whiffer and they started calling him Push It, right? He'd come up to the plate, runners on the corners, and they'd start saying, Push it, Derek, push it. So we had a new handle that year when we almost won district. You must have noticed the difference in him, right? Did you notice that summer? How confident he was, how proud he was. He was a big little guy, and I don't want you to get the wrong impression. He practiced a lot, but I taught him that. I taught him how to putt. So when he asked me if I ever touched your kid, I really hope I did.
And a beautiful ending. So, right, you have this exposition, him talking about touching his child emotionally. And I think Jason Bateman does an incredible job here of hitting those notes of, slightly crying and thinking about his life, because now he's in a position where maybe he's up for life in prison. He is looking at his life through a different lens, and he's like, how did all of these people just give up on me? This is like the perfect example of how you want dialogue to come through. You can get dialogue where it's too exposition-y and it gets to a point where it's a slog. Every bit of this dialogue keeps you involved or keeps you on your toes, and you want to know what's next, like what's the end of the story that he's telling and what's the point. Beautiful acting, beautiful writing.